Hello, John, aka Chicken Fillets here, and it's time once again for JRPGs and Me. This is a series where I get a guest on and we build up their JRPG profile. So today I've got great friend of the channel, Luca from Fieto Gaming on today. Now, how I know Luca is I met Luca through one of his own videos about the love of crosscode. We've done collaborations, etc., and he's your one-stop shop for Metroidvania, JRPGs, and indie games. Do you think that's a great description, Luca?
That's a perfect description. Thank you.
Perfect. So, what I have today is a set of questions for yourself, where we just discuss everything JRPGs and build up a bit of knowledge about you and yourself with JRPG. So we'll get cracking on with the first question. So it's a nice, easy one for you, or maybe a hard one. It is your favorite JRPG.
Oh, my favorite JRPG. That's an easy question. I mean, it's probably a boring answer for the most part, for most people, but it's actually Final Fantasy VII, the original Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1. Yeah, like it's 27 years old, but it's still my favorite game, and I think it probably will stay my favorite game always.
And that is the correct answer. Well done. We have learned the best game. Luca has selected the best game ever. Right. So what makes Final Fantasy your favorite JRPG of all time? Because it's easy to say, it's your favorite, but why? Why is it your favorite?
I mean, it has everything for me. I mean, the story is really emotional. I love the complexity of all of it. Like back in the day, I remember when I first played it, I didn't understand everything because I was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 or something. But as I got older and replayed the game over and over again, I just fell in love with the story, like repeatedly. And yeah, I mean, and the characters, they are just so lovable and memorable, and also the turn-based combat system in this I mean, come on, it's like perfect, and it's complemented with the material system, which is my favorite, like customizing system or whatever, of all time, still today actually. Yeah, it has everything but the graphics, except the graphics.
Well, that's what we have Remake and Rebirth for.
Yeah.
Here's one for you then, sticking with the original Final Fantasy VII, right? What is your favorite moment of Final Fantasy VII? Because there's loads of moments, but what is the bit which sticks out in your mind?
Oh, that's a hard question. That's tough. Okay. I think one great moment, probably not my favorite, but one great moment was when you leave Midgar and see the world for the first time. Because I remember that Final Fantasy VII was my first JRPG I've ever played. So I wasn't used to like overworld maps and stuff. And seeing this moment where you're like, wait a second, there's a whole other world besides Midgar? What is this? And you can just run around and find stuff. That was incredible. But also, I don't know, I always love the moment when you get into Ghost Saucer. When you get into Ghost Saucer and like see the fun from the outside, this is a fantastic moment. I love that.
Well, you know what's funny is that you bring up the world map when you leave Midgar. That is actually my favorite moment of Final Fantasy. It's unlike you, Final Fantasy VII was my first JRPG. I'm not counting Pokemon, because Pokemon, no.
Yeah,
but Final Fantasy, like going into the world map, because when I played it back in '97, so showing my age here, but like I was young at the time when I played it, and it's like it took me a while to even get out of Midgar, and then when I finally did that, it was something else. One thing I've got to say when I just remembered about it, my little brain back then, like, wasn't really fully taken in the story, right? So, spoilers for anyone who's not played Final Fantasy VII, but you find out that in Final Fantasy VII, you find out Cloud has based himself around someone else, and he had like a different persona. And like, you know how he sometimes glitches out in everything, and you know he's grabbing his head and all sorts. So my little brain, right? When he said, I am not who I am, sort of thing, blah blah blah, and my little brain went, does that mean Cloud's a robot? I don't know why.
I mean,
my little.
Why not? US 7 or something. It's totally. Yeah, it's a robot. That's great.
I've never actually shared that on the channel yet, but it came to mind. I thought, oh man, I've got to share this one. So Final Fantasy VII is your favorite JRPG.
Absolutely.
But this one might throw you off. What is your favorite JRPG series? Because it could be Final Fantasy, it could be Persona. I just don't know. Tell us.
Oh, it's not Persona because I never played one Persona game actually. But I can confidently say I bought Persona 3, which came just like 15 minutes ago in the mail. And I bought Persona 5, so I'm getting into the series. But so that's not my favorite series. I would say actually Final Fantasy, not because it's like consistently great or something. I mean, I love, I don't know, like 4 to 10. I don't hate 12. I actually liked some things about it. Yeah, then there was like 13 and 15 was not my thing. So Square Enix did like weird stuff with Final Fantasy that I didn't enjoy that much. But on the other hand, I mean, there are like so many games that are amongst my favorite games of all time. Like 7, 14 is my, I would say, second favorite game. Although it's like an MMO, but it's still my second favorite. And also Final Fantasy X is quite high in my list of favorite games of all time. So yeah, I mean, there's a bit of nostalgia to that, to be quite honest. But Final Fantasy is my favorite series. But it could change, maybe. I don't know. I haven't got into Persona or the Trails or Legend of Heroes series, whatever. So maybe that will become my new favorite series in the future. Who knows?
I will tell you right away, like once you get your foot into the rabbit hole of the Trail series, oh my, you will get stuck in that.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, I totally get where you're coming from with Final Fantasy, because there is games which were hit and miss. So for example, like 12, like I have tried so many times to play 12 and I just cannot get into it. The MMOs I've never played, and I know you're a big fan of it. It's been highlighted in many of your videos about 14. 10, for example, like when 10 first came out on the PlayStation 2, I've mentioned this on my channel a few times, is that I didn't like Final Fantasy X when it first came out because my brain couldn't wrap around the fact that there was no world map compared to like.
Man, honestly, me too. I mean, I always waited for that moment back in the day. I waited for that moment when you get to the world map, and it just didn't came. It just, I don't know. And then you realize, wait a second, I'm on this like airship and this is my world map, so to speak. This like menu screen, this was kind of disappointing back in the day. I mean, I loved everything else, but I mean, as a 10-year-old or something, I was disappointed, man. So I get you.
Yeah, and with that as well, I mean, it was because of Crisis Core of all games, which pulled me back into Final Fantasy purely because like after my PlayStation 2, like during PlayStation 2 and like 360, like I was just a casual gamer. I played like Tony Hawk and WWE games and the occasional like Mass Effect and that. But when I got back into like gaming in general, because it was like handhelds which got me back into gaming, and I played Crisis Core. And because Crisis Core wasn't like open world and it had a different combat system, it made me try different games. So, for example, I went back and revisited Final Fantasy 13, and I'm probably like one of the 12 people in the world who like Final Fantasy 13. Yeah, so I understand that the sort of, I wouldn't say love-hate relationship with Final Fantasy, because there's some of them which are great, like 5, for example, couldn't really get into. But
You couldn't get into 5?
yeah, like it's the job systems I struggle with.
I remember
like
you don't like job system. Yeah.
I mean, if they're implemented well, then yeah. But like, I remember playing Final Fantasy 3 for the first time and going, "Oh man!" Like it was the 3D remake, and I have a remembering of it where, like, if you come out of a job, to change jobs, you can't level that up for like 2 battles or something like that, which I just felt was a bit unfair. I might be wrong. I might be remembering wrong. But moving on from favorites, right? Let's talk about least favorites, because it'll probably be a JRPG that you cannot fathom playing. You know, you might despise a JRPG. So, what is your least favorite JRPG?
Okay, so John, you already know. You already know what my least favorite JRPG is. It's actually from a series I really love. Like, it's probably my second favorite series after Final Fantasy. And it's Star Ocean 5 Integrity and Faithlessness. I mean, this game, I could go on about this. I could talk like hours why I hate this game so much. And I really hate it. It came out like in, I don't know, 2016 or something. And I was so excited to get a new Star Ocean. It was like 7 years since the last Star Ocean came out to that point. And oh man, I was so disappointed with like everything. The characters were super boring. Combat was chaotic as hell because like you had, I don't know, 7 or 8 characters simultaneously in the battle, which was, I don't know, it's a pretty stupid decision in my opinion. The side quests were boring. Then there was just one planet, if I remember correctly. Like all the other Star Oceans before did something with its universe, and you could visit other planets and stuff. But man, this had nothing. And also they reused music from the older games, which was okay because the music is great, but it also showed that like it didn't put any love into this game or any money. So yeah, I mean, this game. I elbow dropped my collector's edition, as you know.
It's just the way you say, I'll make sure to add the elbow drop in. It's just so funny. Like every time I get do collaborations, I've always got to make sure that you're known as the Star Ocean 5 enthusiast. I totally understand. I mean, like when I first played it, I tried to get into it. I thought, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. And then there's those mission. There's a mission where you have to keep one of your party members from getting killed or knocked out, and it just, I remember going into the battle so many times and her getting KO'd in one shot, and it was it's the girl with the green hair and the red suit. It was her. So yeah. Now you were talking earlier about the turn-based the turn-based combat with Final Fantasy VII, and you were talking about the action combat with Star Ocean. So this begs the question, right? I have to put a gun against your head with this one. You can only pick one, right? Turn-based or action combat? What one is better?
Yeah. It's a tough question, but I thought about it earlier. And I would say it's actually turn-based. Just because, the reason for that I choose turn-based combat over action-based combat is, I don't know, I think it's way more difficult for developers to develop a really good action-based combat system that's actually fun. And I thought it's a bit easier to get into turn-based combat, and it's mostly, they are way more fun than action-based combat. I mean, obviously there are games like Star Ocean 2, the remake, and Final Fantasy 16 had a great combat system in my opinion, and all that stuff, and the Grand Blue Fantasy Relink that just came out. Everything, this is all great, but I don't know, turn-based combat system just works most of the time. And I mean, we're in like 2024, and we still get like innovations for that turn-based combat system. For example, Chained Echoes had a great turn-based combat system that we never seen before.
Absolutely.
So that's why I always would say turn-based over action.
Well, okay, we'll keep on the turn-based or action question. Let's talk about the turn-based combat then, right? So you mentioned Chained Echoes there with its unique combat system. What is the best what is the best game that you've played which has turn-based combat? So, could Final Fantasy VII have the best turn-based style combat, or could it be Chained Echoes? What game do you think has the best turn-based combat to date?
Okay, the best turn-based combat system. Okay. I would say it's probably Chained Echoes. Yeah, it's probably Chained Echoes. I mean, obviously, I didn't play all of the turn-based combat games, but Chained Echoes, like, it's really accessible, but deep on the other hand. So, yeah, this is like the most engaging turn-based combat system I've seen today. You can like swap characters, which is super cool, like really versatile combat. And yeah, I mean, the characters, they have so many unique and useful skills. And I thought like a couple weeks ago, I thought, which game do I like more? Is it Sea of Stars or Chain Echoes? You've probably seen a lot of videos on YouTube that are comparing these two games.
Yeah.
And while I absolutely love Sea of Stars and its combat system, it unfortunately has one weakness, which is like there are not enough skills, like 4 skills or something for every character, which is a bit of a shame. So yeah, but on the other hand, it's pretty great because of the like engaging element with the timed hits and stuff. But Chained Echoes would be my answer.
I'll have to remember to at some point come to you about one of the battles in Chained Echoes, because I hit a roadblock with Chained Echoes.
Oh no!
It's the Daijin battle. You go through this area and there's like a genie or something like that called the Daijin, and like his elements change through battle, and I just could not get past it. So I will get to it, but like I love Chained Echoes. I just got to that battle just made me rage quit. I was like, ah!
Oh no. Yeah, man. I try to help.
Yeah, but speaking of like retro style games, modern games, right? We'll do one where you'll select again, similar to the last question. Retro JRPGs or modern JRPGs? What do you find better?
I mean, probably that's probably the toughest question so far, because I mean, I would love modern games, but oftentimes, I mean, retro style games oftentimes are developed by like indie studios, and I feel like they put way more love into their games and way more thought into their games. So I would probably say retro at this point, but actually I hope to say modern in the future, because I want like I mean, graphics are not very important to me, but it's really nice to have like flashed out graphics and stuff. So so it would be cool to have more modern games that are actually enjoyable. But I mean, at this point, modern games are a bit like hit or miss, I feel like. And indie games with their retro style are, I mean, they're also like hit or miss, but not that much. If that makes sense.
There's a degree of like with modern games, if they get the stylization nailed down, then it's going to look fantastic. So, for example, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, right? I started playing it yesterday, and like I like my cell shaded graphics, but this brings it to like, honestly, it brings it to an absolutely new level where like even when you look out into the distance, it's like a watercolor painting. It just looks like that. Or if you're going hyper realistic with, I say hyper realistic. There's an element of cartoonishness to it. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is looking unbelievable.
That's insane, man.
Whereas, like modern retro, for example, you've got like Sea of Stars, which I've not played. I've had a little go of the demo. I was waiting for the physical to come out. And like you mentioned, Chained Echoes, and we've got Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes coming up. So yeah, you're absolutely right. For myself, I mean, I like my modern JRPGs. I think it's harder for me to go back the way nowadays, especially with my lifestyle as well, because I only get a certain amount of time per day where I can manage to play something due to life. So, like, I like a lot. Like, so I'll give you an example. Star Ocean, Second Story R, right? Having a lot of the modern, like, quality of life features added into that compared to like the PSP counterpart made a massive difference.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
turn-based JRPGs which have ways to speed up combat. So Bravely Default 2, for example, has that speed up option. A lot of other JRPGs. So yeah, I've been seeing JRPGs quite a lot, obviously playing it, but JRPGs in general have utterly breathtaking soundtracks. So the question here, out of all the JRPGs that you've played, what JRPG has the best soundtrack? What is your absolute favorite?
This question. I feared that question because it's practically impossible to answer. But I came up with a solution for this. I'm cheating a little bit because I'd say it's Final Fantasy XIV, just because I mean this game Masayoshi Soken writes incredible music. I mean, probably some people would say it's not a JRPG because it's an online game, but yeah, I mean it got like 600 tracks at this point or even more, I'm not sure, and there's such an incredible like so many pieces are absolutely fantastic and memorable, and some of my favorite music from video games and like music moments in video games come from Final Fantasy XIV. So I would say this one, but at the same time, if that does not count as JRPG, I would say Chained Echoes.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I'll totally take those two answers, either way. And the soundtrack for Chained Echoes as well. Like, I've heard snippets of tracks from 14, and from what I've heard, you know, they are awesome. They are absolutely awesome. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, what it used to be for me, like Final Fantasy VII soundtrack is one of my favorites, but like the remake with all the like the new versions of the tracks are just amazing, and I'm really looking forward to hearing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth soundtrack, especially the one track I really want to hear is the Rufus welcoming ceremony.
I knew it. I knew that you were gonna say that, because I can't wait to hear that too, man. This track is incredible.
Because there'll be some if you've seen previous videos with like some me and James from the review thing, we've got the little dance which goes along with it as well. So it'll be, yeah, I just can't wait for it. Other standout tracks for me is Weight of the World, which is in Nier Automata. Or Nier Automata. I get corrected on it.
Or like the German version would be Automata.
Right. You see, it's a chicken fillet sort of thing where you have to pronounce everything absolutely wrong. It could just be
that's part of the charm, isn't it? Yeah.
So now, I mean, this is the first JRPGs ME for 2024. So I was asking this question quite a lot to everyone I spoke to in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the case of, what is your favorite upcoming JRPG? What is the game that you're looking forward to the most? But in February, we've already had Grand Blue Fantasy, Persona 3 Reloads just come out, and we've got Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. So I'm going to still ask the question, is there an upcoming game? I'll open the field up a bit more instead of just JRPGs. Is there a game which you're really looking forward to the most?
So my most anticipated game like this year is a JRPG, and of course it's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. What else could it be? I mean, Final Fantasy VII Remake was such an incredible game, and I absolutely loved it. But on the other hand, it raised so many questions I want to see answered now. And I mean, I can't believe that we're actually getting to play this like this month. And this is my most anticipated game of the year. And another JRPG, I'm also, I do the double answer here, but I don't know what's about this game, but I'm really looking forward to Metaphor Refantasio.
That's the Atlas one, is it? That looks awesome.
We haven't seen that much of this game, but something about this game looks really intriguing, and I just want to play it. It comes out in fall or something. Yeah, that one's very high on the list of most anticipated games.
I know it'll be fantastic that way. I mean, the Atlas are just the kings of user interfaces.
Yeah,
the menus are amazing. I mean, it's a no-brainer for me. It's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. There is apparently going to be a demo coming out shortly. So there's been some things popping up online saying that the next state of play, which at the date of recording hasn't happened, but it's like the 6th of February, that state of play happening. And apparently there's going to be a demo dropping that day.
Are you going to play it?
Well, this is the thing. I probably will. The thing is, there is apparently items which will come across. I did it with Remake as well. When Final Fantasy Remake demo dropped, I was instantly downloading it. I'm playing it a couple of times. So I reckon I'll do the exact same here. And, with us being content creators and all, it might... we might have to make a video about it.
Yeah, maybe. That's the thing. If I wouldn't have a YouTube channel and made content, I probably wouldn't even download it, because I just want to play the full game and not just play a snippet of it and then wait like 3 more weeks and stuff, and like I'm sitting in my chair and just going crazy because I can play so. But on the other hand, maybe it's worth some content. So yeah, I haven't decided yet if if I would play the demo.
I totally get it, because I am on the fence. I mean, it's too tempting, to be honest. But we'll see. It could depend on how much you actually get to play of Rebirth, or if it's like the same demo that was getting shared to like bigger channels like a couple of months back. We'll just have to see.
Yeah.
But I will say that is all the questions that I have for you with JRPGs ME. So what I do hope is that this has opened up your understanding of Luca and his love for JRPGs. Now, what I will say to you is remember to like, share, and subscribe to Luca. As I said, he is the best source for everything when it comes to Metroidvanias, indie games, and indie JRPGs, and JRPGs in general. Before we finish up, Luca, do you have any questions you want to fire in or anything you want to say at all?
No, not at this point. Not at this point. Yeah, just as John said, please subscribe and share this video, and yeah, hop over to my channel if you want. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
We'll put this to a close. So, this has been John, aka Chicken Fillets. If you want to help me grow the channel, well, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. And if you want to be kept up to date with everything Chicken Fillets, well, hit that notification bell. Luca, do you want to join me in a tatty bye?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's an honor.
On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Tatty bye.